Thank you very much, everybody. Good evening. First of all, I would like to thank you, everyone here today, my partners who over the time have learned to support me, our collaborators who enthusiastically cultivate our passion for architecture with us and everyone who has come here for any reason. Not least the organizers of this beautiful exhibition, which try to address with an effective title, The New Together, one of the most important challenges that architecture is facing in this period of enormous social and cultural transformation. Today, I won't speak about our project. I would like to speak about this great title of this exhibition, that is The New Together. And well, I inform you that speaking with my friend Stefano a few minutes ago, I decided to cut the most part of this speech that was very, very, very long, so you are very lucky today, that is me, so thank you, Stephen, for your help. Well, my speech today attempts to make a modest contribution to the position of the architectural discipline in this era of great challenges and great change. I would like to start from a phrase by Lewis Kahn. I think that many of you knows this beautiful thought about school done by Lewis Kahn himself, which I have always been very fond of. This is the phrase of Lewis Kahn. I look upon the school as a special environment where it is pleasant to learn. School began with a man under a tree who didn't know he was a teacher and who explained what he had understood to a few people who didn't know they were students. The students reflected on the exchanges of ideas that had taken place between them and thought it was nice to be there with that man. They hoped their children would be able to listen to the man like that too. Soon they put up the necessary spaces for the first schools appeared. It was inevitable that schools should be created since they are a part of man's desires. All our complicated system of education, which we now delegate to institutions, began with those tiny schools, but by now we have forgotten the spirit with which they began. Schools are now beautiful but superficial as buildings because they do not reflect the spirit of the man under the tree. This was Lewis Kahn. We can say that the teacher's action and his consequent relationship with his students is architecture with capital A. This is to say, it is the origin of the space, because the space is generated, served precisely to make possible that action that constitutes a primary need of the human being and therefore of our being, the need to learn and the need to know. In other words, we could say the need to possess and in the highest sense of the word, that is to say, the need to inhabit. So all our buildings and spaces are in some ways the expression of a fundamental need. They are the gestures, that is to say, they carry with themselves an attempt to respond to this fundamental need of the man, the need for justice, for beauty, the need to love and to be loved, the need for truth. Every one of us tends towards being, by which we mean being present, investing our energy towards the world. We feel it is fundamental that our approach to the beautiful subject of this exhibition, thanks again, The New Together, should put the word architecture at the center of its correct interpretation, or rather at the center of the interpretation proposed by our studio in its work as architects. Why do we feel it is important to speak of the new together? Because this concise, effective formula conceals a challenge that we recognize as very much our own. We are beginning to understand that we cannot live sanely in a world afflicted with thousands of problems, and that we need a new together, a new way of giving access to the other, to our neighbor, until the other becomes part of ourselves, of our identity. Contemporary architecture has the duty to grasp this new awareness of the present and to accelerate the process of collective identification until the ego ceases to be individualistic and become collective, until it becomes willing to extend its identity, allowing the other to flow inwards with his or her questions or needs, until it opens the window of its home to the new and to the unexpected. So far, the buildings we have shown you during these brief moments have all been conceived according to this principle. The Student Hall of Residence, which is in this exhibition, the Student Hall of Residence that encourages the growth of the individual's identity in relation to his or to her neighbor, with the spaces specially conceived both for the group relationships or those between individuals. The social housing, where external court and courtyard spaces dialogue with the internal spaces of the dwellings to favor the formation of a common identity. The sheltered housing for disabled persons, where the porch and the internal garden of the flats is a projection of the private space into the public one and of the public space into the intimacy of the single dwelling unit. The secondary school, where growing children can feel the classroom space as a part of a broader context that dialogues with nature and with their other contemporaries. And at least the swimming pool, where physical exercise experience, even in the hyperactivity of extreme athletics, opens the window onto the city outskirts that are degraded, yet beautiful in their incompleteness, not just as the aesthetic background to individual activity, but as a window onto the life of the people who inhabit the contemporary city with us. This is our small and humble contribution to the new together. I thank you all and your kind attention. Have a good evening, everybody. Thank you very much.